All right, now an interview that follows on from yesterday's discussion with David Bennett, the National Party's gaming racing spokesperson, about a story, an announcement this week by Kieran McNulty, who was like the mini-me of Chris Hipkins with a beard. Kieran McNulty, the Minister of Racing, which is a hangover from New Zealand First days, announcing that for, I think it was $140 million, the British company or bookie company, gambling company Entain, is going to get the operating rights to run the TAB in New Zealand. And some of that money will be distributed to the 30 or so sporting codes in New Zealand that allow the TAB to do sports betting on them. And part of the deal, though it's not finalised yet, may also be the geo-blocking of other online gambling organisations from outside New Zealand to give Entain operating the TAB a partial gambling monopoly in New Zealand. To be honest, because Kieran McNulty is too lily-livered and chicken-like to come on the platform to discuss his amazing reforms, there's still much, and indeed I've scoured other stuff in the media, there's not much that we can... There are big parts of this story missing. But I think one group that can be relied on to take a dispassionate look at gambling is the Problem Gambling Foundation of New Zealand, who do excellent work for those who fall prey to what can be a very powerful and incredibly destructive addiction. At the moment, part of all the gambling that's officially carried out in New Zealand has a levy on it that helps the Problem Gambling Foundation do its work. We are joined now by their spokesperson, Andree Froude. I think I got is that right? The right pronunciation of your name, Andree Froude?
Hi, Sean. Yes, Andree Froude.
Froude. Thank you very much. Where does that come from?
Oh, it's English, actually.
English, okay.
Yeah.
Andree, thank you very much for joining us. Firstly, I am slightly confused detail-wise as to this Entain deal. Can you give me a more accurate description of what's going on here?
Sure. Well, basically, this partnership has been talked about for a wee while, but required ministerial approval. And essentially what it means is that the TAB will partner with Entain to bring a better return, basically, to New Zealand racing. So it's a 25-year partnership. Entain is a massive global betting company based in the UK, but has many, many brands. More commonly, Ladbrokes is the one that people will know.
That's one of their brands?
Yes.
Oh, wow. Yes. I didn't realise that, Andree. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah. And the deal is set to deliver about $900 million in guaranteed funding for the racing industry over the next 5 years. Yes.
Okay, so that keeps an otherwise unsustainable industry afloat. That is the horse racing industry.
That's right.
Does it affect any other sports, any other areas of gambling in New Zealand apart from the horse racing industry?
It basically will cover the sports betting and the 3 codes of racing. So online gambling, like online casino gambling and that sort of thing is not part of this. I know that Entain has many, many offerings. They're not just restricted to the sports betting and racing. But in terms of this partnership and the scope of this, my understanding is that what they're trying to do is keep the TAB as a monopoly. So the sports betting side of things and the racing codes, any sort of competition that they get from overseas operators, they're talking about blocking those. But that won't be for things like casino gambling and other forms of online gambling.
Okay, what about the pokies?
Well, pokies online, or are you talking about pokies, physical
pokies? Real pokies, which are a huge problem. I mean, in terms of problem gambling, they're huge.
Absolutely. Yeah, they are. They're the most harmful form of gambling. Now, the TABs have actually got pokies in some of their venues.
Yeah.
So under this deal, the minister announced that some of those pokies will go, or all of those pokies will go, actually.
Yeah.
So we will lose, pokies out of the community, which is a good thing. But the other side of the coin, I guess, is that we're seeing more people experiencing harm from online gambling, and to be honest, that's only going to be the tip of the iceberg.
Do you see this by Entain as a way of getting into the New Zealand market, partnering in a quasi way with the government to create a gambling outside racing and sport, some sort of gambling monopoly here?
Yeah, well, I think by default that might happen, because you can sort of see how it would roll out, because they will become known. They will become a known brand here. And people may then look at other options. I mean, when this deal was announced, the TAB sent an email out to their customer database pretty much saying that they will have access to Entain's global expertise and a wide range of products in the near future. Well, we don't really know what that wide range of products means.
Well, I think it also means technology and computer programming and stuff. And I've got to say, in the business I'm in, I realise other people are developing software and skills and things that I just don't have the capacity because I'm so small to do. So you could see some logic in that, some commercial logic in that, I think, Andree.
Yes, absolutely. But it's the betting products that we're concerned about, what that will lead to and what the implication for that will be around harm, because that's what we're concerned about,
I also saw some speculation a couple of days ago that this might impact greyhound racing. Where are we at on that?
Yes, greyhound racing, a lot of that is to do with the animal welfare side of things, and which is not our main area of expertise, of course. Yeah. But it is one of the codes, I guess. So it sounds to me like that's still sort of hanging in the balance at the moment. Yeah. And there's talk about the whole greyhound racing industry being scrapped. So yes, and it will be interesting to see what happens in that space.
Okay. Does your organisation have a position on this Entain deal, or are you watching with interest?
Well, it's a bit of both, really. We have real concern about it, and our concern sort of comes from the fact that we don't really have enough detail to feel confident that we won't see an increase in harm. We don't know what the harm minimisation is going to look like. They're putting chunks of money into harm minimisation, but if that's industry driven, then we know from our experience that host responsibility programs and harm minimisation efforts look great on paper, but they don't always roll out in reality. And that's, our experience, and we see a lot of people that fall through the cracks. And when they do fall through the cracks, they really do. So we've definitely got that concern. And we just don't know what it's going to look like. And Entain's track record doesn't fill us with confidence either.
That was the other question I was going to ask. What sort of an industry player, what is their rep, the Entain rep?
Well,
are they like a mafia are they a mafia subgroup or what?
No, but they've had a raft of regulatory failures. So they've been fined £17 million by the UK Gambling Commission, and that was for breaches of anti-money laundering and safer gambling regulations.
Oh God, I was joking, but now I feel like I wasn't. So they have breached anti-money laundering laws in the US.
Yes, in the UK. Yes.
UK, sorry.
And these are serious breaches, and they've also more recently been fined in Australia by the Northern Territory Racing Commission, and that was about 78,000 Australian dollars, and that was for failures in host responsibility, and that is to do with not identifying a gambler who was experiencing significant harm. So it doesn't exactly fill us with confidence, which is what we wrote.
Mind you, that's two misdemeanors. You say they're a massive organisation offering around the globe, offering all sorts of products. So proportionately, that might not be a bad hit rate.
Well,
what are the odds?
I don't know that I agree with that. I'm not really a betting person, but I'm not sure that I agree with that, because I think, they're significant failures.
Sorry, and I just want to clarify, the fine for the money laundering in Britain was how much?
That was £17 million.
Pounds. So they have been fined that's like more than 30 million New Zealand dollars. Yes. That's quite serious. I think that's worthy of some questions of the Minister. It really is.
Yeah, well, we've outlined, in a letter to the Minister, and, the response was really that he would be absolutely putting harm minimisation at the forefront of it.
He'd keep an eye on it.
So, yes. And of course, I guess benefit of the doubt, if they are going to bring, really high standard host responsibility technology and things to the table, well, that is great. But, we wish we could get around that table.
How problematic right now is the TAB in terms of problem gambling? Is it doing enough? Is it breaching protocols and best practices?
There are some things that are good. There are some things that are not so good. We don't like the fact that they offer inducements to people. So, here, have $20 to put in your TAB account. Spend it by Sunday, place a bet. To me, inducements, and to our organisation, inducements should be prohibited because, they target younger people as well, because they see that as I can get $20 and go and have a bet, and then it's a slippery slope. We know how it goes, and it won't be for everybody. We're not saying that, but it will be for some people, and it will be for the vulnerable. So lots of people are experiencing harm from gambling on the TAB and with sports betting. Absolutely.
Yeah. Hey, Andree, that is a really interesting discussion. That fine stuff in particular is a bit eye-watering. I thank you very much indeed for your time this morning and for the excellent work that the Problem Gambling Foundation does in helping ameliorate some of the big problems that we have with gambling in this country. Thank you for your time. Andree Froude from spokesperson for the Problem Gambling Foundation in New Zealand. So she says we're basically giving the TAB sports betting monopoly to this English company Entain, who have been fined more than 30 million New Zealand dollars for breaching money laundering rules in Britain. That's fine. So maybe they'll be just taking a bit of ill-gotten drug money and just laundering it through the TAB. How good.